Hey there, hi there, greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 SMGs as it pertains to Warzone for your close to close / mid-range battles, your top of the meta guns, your attachments that you should be using on them. If you find what you see today useful or helpful, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to find your way back to the channel, make sure you turn notifications on so you know every time we post new content. And as always, come hang out with us live on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Looking at number 5. Number 5 is going to be the Vanguard PPSH. I do have to put a little disclaimer in here that every gun that we're going to talk about today is under the Vanguard umbrella. They have just taken over the close range meta. They're pushing it and I guess and trying to make them top of the tier, but every gun we're going to talk about in the top 5 today is a Vanguard gun, so just beware, right? The PPSH, man, at first when the game launched was not really that good. A lot of people didn't use it. A lot of people didn't like it. It just didn't have a good hit power. It didn't have a fast TTK or anything like that, so people was just kind of staying away from it, using the old version of the PPSH. But since then, some nerfs, some buffs have happened, and man, it is viable again. So the loadout we're going to use on it is the recoil booster on your muzzle, the Empress 140mm rapid for your barrel, the slate reflector for your optic, the Zac folding for your stock, SMLE pistol grip for your underbarrel, the 7.62 Gorenko 71 round mags with incendiary ammunition, fabric grip on your rear grip, fleet for your perk, and quick for your perk too. The reason I like fleet for my perk is the weapon swap quickness. If you got to get into that engagement, you need to swap over. It helps. The PPSH is not the fastest of guns. You know, it's not the littlest or smallest of SMGs, I guess I could say. So that definitely helps. And then it helps increase your movement speed as well. Out of the perks available for it, I think that's definitely the best one to use. There is another build for this gun. It's a hipfire build, right? And more of you experienced players would probably use that. I try to make my videos geared toward more of the beginner to average player because that's what the majority of players in Warzones are, myself included. But there is a hipfire version. If you're comfortable with hipfiring, you can definitely do that. You'll take the recoil booster and remove it and put on the oil can silencer. For your barrel, you're going to run the Ketchxxii, I think's how you pronounce it, the 230mm BO3P for your barrel. For your optic, you're going to put on the ZFA 3.5 rifle scope. You're going to take the stock, make it a remove stock. Carver foregrip will replace the SMLE pistol grip. The 71 round mags will still stay. The incendiary rounds will still stay. You'll replace fabric grip with the pine tar grip. You'll still keep fleet and quick on there as well. Man, that thing is a monster. Like, you don't really use the scope, but something about it just makes the recoil when you're hip firing just non-existent, and that thing is a laser. So if you're comfortable with hip firing, maybe go check out and try that build as well. Moving on, looking at our number 4 gun, and this really hurts me to say it, man, because I think this gun should be like a top 1, top 2, man. Like, the Cooper is just a well-rounded monster of a gun. You're going to see it in long-range classes. You're going to see it in close-range classes. You're going to see it as sniper support. It is the most versatile gun, and this build that I have built for it just absolutely melts people. Let an MP40 run up on me. As long as I hit my shots, he ain't winning a gunfight. I promise you. If you haven't tried this yet, try it, but try it with this build and you'll come back and say, Catch22, man, you was right, brother. That thing is phenomenal. So for the muzzle, we're going to put on the Mercury silencer. For the barrel, the 22-inch Cooper Custom. This helps not only with our close range battles because the fire rate with this thing, but that 22-inch barrels is going to help with a mid-range as well. So that's what makes this thing so versatile. The slate reflector for the optic, the Ragdoll G45 skeletal for the stock, M1941 for your hand stop, 9mm 60 round drums for your magazine with incendiary rounds. You're going to see that trend as we keep going through this list. Incendiary rounds are just everywhere in Warzone. I imagine there's going to be some type of nerf coming to them for the next update, just because there's nothing to really combat them. So rear grip, you're going to run the fabric grip, and perk's going to be vital, and perk 2 is going to be fully loaded. I truly love this perk vital, man, just because it gives you increased torso damage. So, you know, most guns are going to start and have a recoil pattern that works its way up. If you hit a couple of chest shots on the way to that headshot, you're going to take a 4 to 5 kill gun and turn it into a 2 to 3 kill gun. Vital is just OP, and I imagine it'll also be one of the nerfs coming in one of the next updates. But man, I honestly would put this in the top 2, but the information I'm trying to give you, I want it to be accurate based on TTKs and things like that, usage rates and so on and and so forth, and it's just not there with this gun. And I think it's a sleeper, man. So if you haven't tried it yet, try it. You'll really be happy with it. Moving into number 3, we know it, we love it, man. It is the MP40. This thing has been the top of the mountain as far as SMGs go until just recently. The best build you can run on it is the recoil booster for the muzzle, the Crossnick 317mm 04B for the barrel, the slate reflector for your optic, the stock. I like the remove stock. To me, it just looks better. It feels better. That's just my preference. It does kind of hurt your accuracy and recoil a little bit. So if you're a newer player or maybe a less than average player, you're not comfortable with recoil and adjusting, you want something that's a little more steady for you, put on the Crossnick 33mm folding stock. That'll increase your sprint to fire speed, which helps if you get caught tactical sprinting and you got to get into a fight real quick. That'll definitely help there. It also helps increase your movement speed, and it only reduces your initial firing recoil and not your recoil control overall. So those first couple of shots you may have to adjust, but once you're on target, you're steadily hitting. Most people know when you're using this gun, you're using it within about 10 meters, 5 to 15 meters. That's usually your good range for a close range weapon or an SMG. So that doesn't have too much of an impact, but a lot of people just feel more comfortable probably with that folding stock than they would with the remove stock. Just my personal preference is remove stock. Carver foregrip for the underbarrel, 7.62 Gorenko 45 round mags for your magazine, the incendiary rounds for your ammunition, fabric grip on your rear grip, perfectionist for your perk, and quick for your perk 2. So I know a lot of people are asking like, whoa, what are we doing perfectionist for, right? Momentum is what a lot of people would probably tend to steer to. It's going to give you move speed, especially after your kills. Steady's another good one that they like, because if they do ADS this thing while they're moving, it helps increase that speed. But perfectionist, man, remember I told you with no stock we're losing that recoil. With perfectionist, it's kind of giving us that recoil control back. You are losing a little bit on flinch resistance, but again, we're 5 to 15 meters. That really doesn't bother anybody. So to me, perfectionist is just the best perk to use, especially in this class setup. So looking at class number 2, we're going to see something that honestly is shocking to me, right? And it's the Owen gun. Now, the Owen gun has always been viable. This thing has never really just been slept on, right? I'm not saying that, but it hasn't never just been up at the top. The first 3 guns we talked about, I would say, are meta. This thing is absolute meta. Like, it is top of the mountain. And the only reason I didn't put it at number 1, I'll explain that when we get to number 1, right? But for your muzzle, you want to run the recoil booster. For your barrel, the Godwin 188mm shrouded. For your stock, you want the remove stock. For the underbarrel, the 1941 hand stop. For your magazine, the 7.62 Gorenko 72 round drums. Incendiary on your ammunition. Polymer grip on your rear grip. For your perk, you want to run brace, and for perk 2, you want to run quick. The reason I like to run brace is it gives you initial firing recoil. There is a major reason why with this build that brace is so important, and I'll explain that now. We did not go over the optic, and a lot of you are going, whoa, Ketch, put on the slate, man, put on the slate. Like, that's the go-to, right? Nah, look, let me tell you something. I don't know what happened with nerfs and buffs or whatever, but this Owen gun is a laser beam. And not only that, running this slate with the 2.5 custom where you can flip the 2 sights, man, this thing is a laser at medium to short, mid, long range, right? So if you're getting into an engagement and you're out, I don't know, 60 to 50 to 80, 90 meters, 100 meters, like, man, this thing is still viable. And that is why it's so important to keep that 2.5 custom on there. If you get low on AR, maybe you can't switch to your AR. Maybe you just got in a pinch and you got to hit a gunfight real quick. This thing will put in work, and it is a laser beam. It's kind of like the Thompson gun, right? When it was kind of a long range weirdo, but this thing is phenomenal. Go try it out. You'll definitely like it. Now you see why we want brace, because if we do have to get into that long range engagement, we want to make sure we have that initial recoil under control, and then we can kind of take it from there and keep it under control. So definitely a top tier number 2. I would have made it number 1, but its TTK is a little lower than the number 1 gun, especially when you're getting into that short 10 to 20 meter engagement. you're going to lose to the number one gun. But overall, I think this is probably the better gun as far as absolute meta is concerned. So looking at number one, I think we all saw this coming, right? It's the well gun. Hands down, probably one of the ugliest guns that I've ever seen. But this thing is a monster. Ever since it was introduced, it knocked the MP40 right off the top of the charts, man. And it's done nothing but go up since. So look for it to be nerfed as well. It's gonna happen. I'm sorry to say it, but enjoy it while you can. If you don't have it, get it unlocked. If it ain't leveled up, level it up, man, so that you can go run this thing and you'll truly see what a powerhouse it is. For your muzzle, you'd run the recoil booster. For your barrel, you're gonna run the 320mm SA shrouded. For your optic, you're gonna run the slate reflector. For your stock, you're gonna run the remove stock. Underbarrel is gonna be the M1941 hand stop, the 9mm 64 round mags for your magazine, incendiary rounds for your ammunition, fabric grip on your rear grip. Perk's gonna be acrobatic, and perk 2 is gonna be quick. The reason I like acrobatic, probably one of the most compact SMGs. You're already moving quick with it. Add acrobatic on there, you're adding more movement speed. You're adding more sprinting move speed. And then on top of that, if you like to run stems, man, look, you are just a ghost in the wind. And this thing will break some cameras. You'll definitely get in there. You'll get the engagements. You'll get the first shot. You'll win the battles. It is just definitely a monster. Does have a little bit of recoil, but it's not bad. And again, you shouldn't be using this thing unless you're in close range engagements. We're talking 5 to 15 meters, which is pushing buildings, pushing corners, things like that. But definitely top of the meta, man. So there you have it. That is our top 5 SMG classes currently in Warzone as the meta is concerned. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us. Make sure you look for our other videos, the top 5 AR classes and also the top 5 sniper classes. As always, I'm Ketchxxii, and I'll catch you on the playground.
Catch 22!